What's up everybody, it's Tyler from Parallax Gaming here with another video. Today we're going to be starting off our patch 8.01 tank guide series with the Guardian Druid. This guide is going to be fairly simple. It's going to be getting into the basics of the class. We're going to be excluding legendaries as they will be removed pretty much useless besides their stats at level 115 and above. And we'll also be excluding, of course, the artifact, how it's been removed in 8.0.1. This guide should help anybody that's returning to the game, new to the class, or wanting to level the class in BFA. If you guys have any questions throughout this entire video, go ahead and drop them in the comments. Head over to our Discord, it's in the description. That's probably the best place to ask questions, as well as Twitch, as I'm live on there a lot. You guys ask a question, I'll get right back to you on there. So we're going to start in this video with our talents, and then we'll get into stat priority, rotations, and then CDs and active mitigation. I'll have those in the descriptions if you want to jump to one or the other. And let's go ahead and jump right into this guide. First off, we have talents, and talents really have not changed too much at all for us in 8.0.1. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. In our level 15 category, nothing has changed. We really only have the decision between Bristling Fur for a high level mythic progression, as well as high mythic plus is also very useful. It's really good when you take a lot of damage, or burst damage. Bristling Fur, it causes you to generate rage based on the damage you take for 8 seconds. So if you take a lot of damage within 8 seconds, you create an insane amount of rage, and you can use all of that towards your Iron Fur, and that helps to create a lot of armor. I'm only using Brambles right now because it's the end of the expansion. Really not taking too much damage as we're pretty much overgeared for almost everything. It helps to create the class a little bit more simple as it's a passive, and it also boosts your damage output by a very little amount. Let's go ahead and jump into our level 30 category. This is where we've actually received the biggest change, pretty much. Um, we have our Guttural Roars removed and is replaced with Tiger's Dash, or Tiger Dash, sorry. So this actually has changed it up. We actually have to choose pretty much between Tiger Dash and Wild Charge. As right now, it's looking like Wild Charge might be a little bit more useful, as you can jump around to enemies, charge towards the enemy in bear form, fly to different allied positions, so you have to get to one place to another pretty quick. You can use all these different abilities, movement abilities, to go there and there. Tiger Dash is also pretty interesting. I've used it, and wow, you are moving very quickly. But also it reduces pretty quickly as you're going 200%, and it reduces gradually over 5 seconds. So at 200%, it reduces fairly quickly. So really, it depends on the situation, what you guys think will be better. Let's go ahead and move to our 45 category. This has received a little bit of a change, but not really, as Balance Affinity took a little bit of a nerf in 8.0.1. Instead of 5% is now, 5 yards, it's now 3 yards. So it's still looking like Balance Affinity is still one of the best ones, unless you actually really need that extra healing. A lot of people will still, however, go for the Balanced Affinity, as that extra 3 yards of range is really good. Moving into our 60 category, this is just one of those ones that's really situational. Right now I'm using Typhoon because that adds a little bit of more control, Mythic Plus, when you need to move packs and stuff like that. Mighty Bash is also amazing, of course, because of the stun and Mythic Plus, as well as in progress rating, you can use Mighty Bash on ads sometimes. But that's pretty much it for 60. Very situational, again, up to you guys pretty much in your usage of it. 75, another one that received a tiny bit of a change, as Galactic Guardian actually took a bit of a nerf here as well. Moving into 8.0.1, we now have a 5% chance for your damage to trigger the free Moonfire instead of a 7% chance, which is, you think about it, it's actually a pretty big amount. But however, it's still really good. It's one of the best ones here. However, now we have Soul of the Forest, which Mango generates 5 more rage and deals 25% more damage. So as you can tell, this is pretty much Soul of the Forest is probably the better single target out of both of these, and it actually produces better numbers on single target than Galactic Guardian does. So AoE situations, probably want to go for Galactic Guardian as it is right now, and single target you want to go for Soul of the Forest. Moving into the level 90 category, you're gonna want to go almost like 90% of the time with Guardian of Balloon. Mango increases duration of your next Siren First, sorry, by 2 seconds, or the healing of your next Frenzy region by 20%. Um, you're most likely going to want to go with this. However, Survival of the Fittest has been also used for different fights in Mythic progression. For example, on Kill Jaden, a lot of people use Survival of the Fittest as the damage output and the burst on that boss was absolutely insane. So guys, just take that with a little bit of grain of salt. You might want to use Survival of the Fittest in some Mythic progression fights. Uh, Level 100, we pretty much only have two choices: Rend and Tear. Your Thrash increases your damage dealt to the target and reduces damage to you by 2%. I usually use this at the very end of expansions or not while I'm in progression. However, Pulverize is probably the better one to use during progression or big damage output area where you really, really need to minimize the damage you're taking. So that is pretty much it for talents. Again, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and move into our stat priority. So our stat priority 8.0.1 has really not changed. This is pretty much the basic stat priority that we have that you see on screen right now. So in our number one category, we have armor, agility, and stamina. Agility is really only one that has really received a change in 8.0.1. Our agility is very, very important now, as of course, it's your primary stat. Also, that increases your attack power and a small amount of dodge. But really, the biggest change is that Ironfur now relies on your agility to increase the amount of armor that Ironfur produces. Um, in number two, versatility, it reduces the damage you take, increases the damage and healing done, increases your absorb size, and also increases, of course, your self-healing abilities. Like your Frenzy Regen, as Frenzy Regen is gonna hit also a little bit of a nerf in 8.0.1. Our Mastery increases our health pool and the healing you receive. It's really good. Haste also is actually received a pretty big change in 8.0.1, as now it, as well as increasing your melee attack speed, it helps with the rate of your bleeds. So your Thrash and your Moonfire will bleed quicker with your haste. And Critical Strike being in last, not really good for survivability. It's pretty much a base damage dealer for Critical Strike. It increases your dodge by a little bit, but is hit by DR fairly hard, fairly quickly. So that is pretty much it for our stat priority. Let's go ahead and jump to the next portion. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and jump into our rotation. Our rotation is fairly simple and has remained the same in 8.0.1. Only a couple things have really changed. It just includes the artifact power abilities that have just make your class a little bit more simple. Less proccing on the Thrash, which was also really fun. So it's a little bit more bland than it was before, but let's go ahead and jump right into it. The Guardian Druid is pretty much a priority system. We're going to want to keep Thrash and Mangle on CD at all times. That's really the main rotation that you have. The other ones are pretty much fillers along with your Moonfire. So you're going to want to always keep Thrash 3 times on the target as it stacks. You're always going to want to use, if they're both on CD and they both come up off of CD at the same exact time, you're always going to want to use Mangle first and then Thrash, because your Thrash has a chance to proc your Mangle. If you're running the Galactic Guardian build, you're going to want to go ahead and only use Moonfire when Galactic Guardian procs, and just spread your Moonfire onto all targets, as well as your Thrash, keep it up 3 times on everybody. So Swipe is pretty much just your filler. Whenever everything's on CD, whenever you don't have a Galactic Guardian proc, you're using Swipe. So when you intro, you're using a Thrash to get it on your targets. I'm using Mangle, swiping. I had a Galactic Guardian proc. I use it. I use Thrash. I use Mangle, Swipe, Galactic Guardian proc, Thrash, Mangle, Swipe, and your procs. So pretty much you're just looking out for procs the entire time. You're going to always want to use Mangle as much as you can. If you have a Mangle proc and a Moonfire proc, always use your Mangle first. So keep your eye out for procs. Keep Thrash, Mangle on CD. Use Mangle before Thrash. Swipe for filler. And that is pretty much it, guys. That is literally the basic rotation for Guardian Druids. Also, just put it out there, if you're running Pulverize, you're going to want to pretty much rotate in Pulverize at 3 stacks of Thrash. Use it as if it was a swipe. So it's your filler. Instead of using swipe, you're using your Pulverize to fill um, that swipe spot. So your rotation is exactly the same thing, except you're using Pulverize instead of a swipe for a filler at 3 stacks of Thrash to maintain your buff. You always want to have your buff of Pulverize up at 24/7. Just as if you were running the Galactic Guardian proc, you would want to keep your, if you were running the Thrash talent, you would always want to keep 3 stacks up 24/7. So easy rotation. Let's go ahead and move into our cooldowns and active mitigation. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and jump into our active mitigation and cooldowns. I'm going to jump into our cooldowns. I'll explain a little bit of what's changed in 8.0.1 and the strength of them and what's has changed. So let's go ahead and jump into our cooldowns. First off, we have our Bark Skin, still a fairly strong CD. The time has been, of course, extended because of the removal of our artifact power abilities, and but it's a 1.5 minute CD. It's a really long CD. It's 12 seconds, and it reduces all damage you take by 20%. Really, really good. Um, and our second CD is our Survival Instincts. Also took a bit of a hit with the removal of our artifact abilities. 4-minute recharge, much larger than it used to be, but still reduces all damage you take by 50% for 6 seconds. Very, very strong CD nonetheless. They did remove, of course, one of our CDs that we had, which was Rage of the Sleeper. We no longer have that because of the removal of our artifact power abilities. So that's one removal of the CD we used to have. So let's go ahead and move into our active mitigations. Also took a little bit of a hit, not so much in the Iron Fur department though, of course. Iron Fur is still a really, really strong active mitigation and smooths out your damage really, really good with the increase of your armor. It just now relies on your agility instead of a baseline percentage like it used to be 30%, I think, with your artifact power abilities. But still very strong. You can stack it up, same exact thing as it used to be before. So you can overlap up to like 3 Iron Furs, go crazy. So our another active mitigation, this one actually probably took the biggest hit out of everything. Our Frenzy Regen is on global cooldown now, as it used to not be, and now instead of 3 stacks, it's 2 stacks, and it's a 30-second recharge, which is a really, really large hit from when they removed our artifact power abilities. Just realize that everything's pretty much exactly the same. Things take a little bit longer. Frenzy Regen's on GCD, so realize that. Iron Fur is not on the GCD, which is really, really good for us. So pretty much Frenzy Regen, Iron Fur, use those in your rotation. And of course your CDs are very, very powerful, so use those as often as you can. And that is pretty much it for our cooldowns and active mitigation. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys really learned a lot from this video. I hope you liked it. I think this guide is much better than our old guides. I think we've really increased the quality of our guides. So I want to hear back from you guys. What can we improve on? What did you guys like? What did you guys dislike? Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to hit that dislike button if you guys didn't like it, so I know what you guys like and don't like. Like I said, if you guys had any questions about this guide, go ahead and drop them in the comments. Ask us in Discord. Go ahead and head over to my Twitch. Follow there if I'm not already live, and ask a couple questions there when I do go live. Once again, guys, if you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have already subscribed, welcome back. And I'm going to be dropping all the tank guides. So if you guys play any other tanks, make sure to subscribe. They're going to be coming out very soon. Thank you so much for watching, and peace out, everybody.